Hello and welcome to this video guide for how to answer Living Under Nazi Rule question 6. So in this question, you have to be able to look at a source, read a source, and you have to be able to make inferences about a particular topic. So this question is going to be, what can source A tell us about Hitler and the Nazi Party? And we'll have a look at source A in just a moment. And then the question will say, use the source and your own knowledge to support your answer, and the question is worth 7 marks. So a checklist for this question: read the source carefully and highlight parts that help you answer the question. In particular, you're looking to pick out some key quotes that you'll be able to use in your answer. You need to make inferences from the content of the source linked to the question and back up your inference with a quote from the source. It's really important to back up any inferences that you make with a short quote. Also, you need to make inferences from the provenance of the source linked to the question, and in reality this means writing about the purpose and audience, which would be the intended impact. So you really want to think about the purpose behind the source, why the source has been made. Where relevant, consider how you can use the source critically or constructively. So this means writing about any possible limitations or why it would be useful, and that can sometimes just help you to secure the top marks. Okay, so let's have a look at this source. So the first thing is just to state that the provenance will be contained at the top. There will be a little blurb at the top which will tell you where the source has come from, and then the content is what the source actually says. So start off by reading the source and decoding the exam question. So this source A, is an extract from Hitler's speech entitled Appeal to the German People, and it's broadcast on the radio on the 31st of January 1933. Millions of Germans listened to the speech. So as you read that, you want to be thinking about what might be the purpose behind it. Is there any significance about the date, for example? So we'll have a look at that in just a moment. Let's read the actual content of the source now. It is an appalling inheritance which we are taking over. 14 years of communism have undermined Germany. The task before us is the most difficult which has ever faced Germany, but we believe in our nation and its values. Farmers, workers and the middle class must unite to build the new Reich. The national government will restore to the German people unity of mind and will. It will rise above position and class to bring our people again to an awareness of racial and political unity. It will make national discipline govern our life. Within 4 years, the German farmer must be free from impoverishment. Within 4 years, unemployment must be overcome permanently. In foreign policy, the national government will see regaining the freedom of our people as its highest mission. Germany will be a state of equal worth and with equal rights. Now, German people, give us 4 years and then judge us and give our verdict. Let us make a start. We have no desire to fight for ourselves, only for Germany. So as you read the source, you want to highlight what the question is asking you to find out about. So in this case, it's Hitler and the Nazi Party. You must make inferences from the content and the provenance, but really focus on purpose. So as you read, highlight anything and annotate anything you can learn about Hitler and the Nazi Party. So as you read the source, you want to be highlighting any key points. And then I've just put on here just some annotations of some of the things that you can think about. Now, I wouldn't expect you to make notes in this much detail on the actual source in the exam, but it just gives you an idea for the thinking behind approaching the exam question. So if you look at this provenance, first of all, is an extract from Hitler's speech, so that's significant. Is an appeal to the German people, so the use of the word appeal suggests he's looking for support, and therefore that gives you some hints behind what might be the purpose of this source. It's broadcast on the radio, so it shows us he's looking for new technology. The audience will be quite broad because lots of people could tune into the radio. It's the 31st of January 1933, so it's the day after he became Chancellor, so that helps give it some context in terms of when it was written. And then it says millions of Germans listened to the speech, so it shows us that the audience is of ordinary Germans and it reached many people. So when you start to think about some key phrases, the use of the word appalling inheritance, you can sort of make inferences about how Hitler and the Nazi Party are trying to solve what they see as the problems in Germany. The idea of 14 years of communism suggests the Nazis are trying to blame, you can infer then Nazis trying to blame the communists for Germany's problems. Use of phrase like unity of mind suggests they want everyone to think the same way. So there's some hints there that the Nazi Party are going to be cracking down on opposition. The use of the phrase national discipline, govern our life, hints they might use brutal methods to enforce order. The use of discipline certainly has connotations for that. Towards the end, where it said give us 4 years and then judge us and give our verdict, suggests they want to win over people's support. So we can start to make inferences perhaps the Nazis are not all powerful at this stage, and then says only for Germany at the end. Suggests their appeal to nationalism and patriotism, and that's one of the things that they're going for. So you can translate that into an actual example answer. To get 7 marks, you must make inferences from both content and provenance. And when you're thinking about provenance, just really hone in on purpose. What's the purpose behind the source? Now, you don't have to divide it up into 2 paragraphs in your answer. One really good paragraph would be enough. You're probably looking at about 3/4 of a page in the exam booklet. But I've just divided it up into 2 paragraphs so you can see how we can make inferences from content and how we can make inferences from provenance. And one of the things is when you're making those inferences, which means drawing conclusions, what you can work out from the source, make sure you back that up with specific reference to the text and the actual provenance itself. So make sure you include quotes. So here's the example answer. And what I've done here is just highlight where I've got some quotes in there and referring to details from the source, and the blue bits are where I'm making inferences, just to make that really clear. So the content of the source tells us about the Nazis' aims and ideology, such as the fact they are anti-communist when it says that 14 years of communism have undermined Germany. This suggests they blame the communists for Germany's problems and will seek to destroy its influence. Furthermore, the source implies that the Nazis seek to eradicate opposition and create a national community when it says it will restore to the German people unity of mind and focus on national discipline. This suggests the underlying intolerance of the Nazi Party to any opposition. From the provenance of the source, I can infer that the purpose of the source was as propaganda to present the Nazis as the solution to Germany's problems. The fact is a radio broadcast suggests the Nazis wanted to use new technology to get their message across. This perhaps suggests the Nazis did not have full support at this stage, with it being only 1 day after Hitler becoming Chancellor, and that it was still necessary for them to persuade people to support them and explain their policies. This suggests the Nazis were keen to ensure they had genuine popularity rather than using force at this stage. We know that Hitler only had around 33% support from the population at this stage, which helps us to understand the purpose behind this source. Now, you can use a little bit of own knowledge to help you to understand the meaning of the source, and that's why it says in the question to use your own knowledge. But remember, the main focus of the question is to make inferences from content and provenance, particularly referencing purpose. Okay, so that's a guide to living under Nazi rule question 6. 3 takeaways here. Decode the question carefully, read the source, carefully highlighting key quotes, and write about content and provenance with a focus on purpose. Thanks very much for listening. Bye-bye.